You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, let's just be honest from the jump. That was not pretty in the second half for the Boston Celtics. Now 2-1 on their road trip as they lose to the OKC Thunder. Thunder extending their win streak to a franchise record 15 in a row. Big second half for OKC. Nothing doing for the Celtics in the second half, and we haven't seen a performance like that for the Celtics in the second half. Had looks, missed shots. Had contested shots, had open looks, missed just about every shot they took in the second half and losing 105-92. With that, we do welcome you to our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college hoops play-by-play announcer, last man on the JV Hoops squad at D3 SUNY Brockport for one semester back during my college days. You're right where you need to be. You are locked on with the latest Locked On Celtics postcast. We are providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcast. On our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to discuss the Celtics with a full unit for one of the very few times this season. Jaylen Brown, great first half. Jaylen Brown, horrible second half, and he wasn't the only one. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button. Join the Celtics conversation. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics' road loss against OKC, the top team in the Western Conference. It can be anything. You can follow with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. You can also give a follow on the X, formerly known as Twitter, as well, at Lennox on Hoops. This episode of the Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and with that get $250 in bonus bets. The word is guaranteed, all caps, exclamation point. Yes, new customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hey, the Patriots season is over. We know officially that Gerard Mayo is out as the head coach. You can catch everything with Locked On Patriots, part of Locked On Sports and Locked On Patriots with Mike Debate. He's going to have a lot. We're talking Celtics. We're talking about the Celtics loss on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder with a big second half. Thunder taking care of business. In that fourth quarter, OKC taking its first lead since the first quarter. Al Horford hit a three to tie the game at 83. OKC, a basket after a Jaylen Brown turnover to go up 85-83. 19-8 run for the Thunder. About 4+ off the clock in that fourth quarter. Tatum hit a 15-footer to tie the game at 85 apiece. And the cold shooting that the Celtics had in the third quarter, 5 of 22 overall, 1 of 13 on the three-point line, that continued into the fourth quarter. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, terrific player. Love watching him. Didn't really like watching him on Sunday, though. Knocked down a three to make it 92-85. Moving screen on Porzingis. And the Celtics, with about 5.5 to go in the fourth quarter, 20 points total for the second half. 15 points in the third quarter. At that point in the fourth quarter, just 5 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a block on Tatum. You could turn your TV off right there. It wasn't going to happen. Hartenstein had a dunk, missed a free throw, up 9. Hartenstein, there was a review. Derek White brought him down. And I did enjoy, and we'll get into it, to broadcaster comments and observations from the game. Oh, boy, was I freaked out. Put it over to NBA League Pass. Did not realize it was NBA TV and thought, hey, I would have been fine listening to Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell for the entire game on the radio side. But I finally said enough is enough. I'm a stupid person on occasion. I'm not the smartest one in the room, even when I'm in the room all by myself. So I tried to figure it out, and I finally did. I was able to go on to the computer, and I figured out how I could watch NBA TV with the NBA League Pass through the computer. Didn't watch it on the TV. That's fine. I'm not a cord cutter yet. But it was the OKC broadcast, and for most of the game, I enjoyed Chris Fisher and Michael Cage. I'll give them effort. But late in that fourth quarter, that Hartenstein foul on Derek White, I thought it was a little bit over the top, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But once Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sort of had that block, you just thought it was going to come at some point. Couple of good signs in the first half, but, telling for the second half overall, the Celtics got to the line in the first half. They were 10 of 11 at the line in the first quarter, and they had 34 points in the paint. I thought the first half, in terms of putting things together with game plan, was terrific. But in the second half, we haven't seen that this year. We just have not seen that. The Celtics were up 3 after 1, extended it to a 10-point lead at half, and led by 4 going to the fourth quarter. But once, Celtics, a couple of shots there. Horford knocked down a 3, as I mentioned. But once the Thunder started getting the momentum, and momentum is real in sports, once they got going, it was from there. Numbers of the night, we'll give them to you in the third segment, but the overall numbers for the Celtics in the second half, just brutal. Again, Jaylen Brown making his return. We're going to hit the comment button here in just a moment. Jaylen Brown had 21 in the first half, and I'm thinking at halftime, Jaylen Brown's going to have a special day. Well, that special day ended after the first 24 minutes. And it's not just on Jaylen Brown. I actually looked at the box score in the fourth quarter for the second half. I'm like, are you kidding me? Brown did not score in the second half. 0 of 7, 0 of 3 on the three-point line. But when was the last time? I've never uttered it since the NBA regular season got underway in October and we unveiled the Locked On Celtics postcast. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White combined for no points in the second half. That's a head-scratcher. And again, not every shot was contested. And there were a couple occasions with under 6 to go, OKC did not play a clean game. They can feel happy about themselves winning 105-92, extending their win streak to a franchise record 15 in a row. But there were opportunities there. That's what's frustrating. There were opportunities there. But the Celtics did not take advantage of them in that fourth quarter. OKC turnovers. Now, in the last couple of games, they came from behind on the Knicks. On Friday, came from behind on the Celtics. Tip your cap to them. I have as advertised. Right there. 2-1 trip now. Brown's return, we touched on that. Rough second half, we touched on that. The game was as advertised for 3 quarters. Terrific game. But if you're a Celtics fan, that fourth quarter, throw that one in the garbage. Don't look back on it and move on. Let's hit the comment button. Let's get into it here. Let's hear from you. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit us up with the comments. Mu Yaru, worst second half I've seen in a very long time. Yeah, that's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. The numbers dictate that, the way they played in the second half. And again, OKC, yeah, they sort of won the game going away, but they weren't clean in that fourth quarter either, by any stretch. Oklahoma City did shoot just under 50% in the second half. They shot 50% on the three-point line, 8 of 16 in the second half, and they had 5 attempts at the free throw line in the second half. So it's not like it was a free throw fest. It wasn't. But the Celtics, points in the paint, all those different things. We'll hit on the final numbers and numbers of the night coming up in the third segment. But boy, oh boy, 15 points total in the third quarter, 12 points in the fourth quarter. Muyaru, you're right there. Throw it out. Celtics trash, man, blew it. Well, DJ, they're not, this is the defending NBA champs. Seth checking in. Not great by us, but the Thunder defense is elite. It was very good. And they forced turnovers. That turnover, it was on the sideline. I referenced it in that fourth quarter. It was an aggressive play. Get back to it there. Maybe it was in the third quarter. See if I can find it. But it was an aggressive play on a Celtics turnover. They went the other way and got the dunk. And it was sort of like, okay, first to the ball and just kind of taking it in the balls. I believe it was Jaylen Brown right on the far sideline, just inside half court for the Celtics. And it went the other way. Tatum had a scare in that third quarter, braced his fall with his arms, going for a 50-50 ball. And at first you thought, what's going on here? But ended up staying in the game and going from there as well. Continue with some of the comments here. Jonas, I believe. Jaylen Brown went back to his erratic ball handling, leading to a turnover, points for OKC. You can say that to a certain degree. Yeah. Again, OKC, I thought the Celtics game plan for the first half was executed. But OKC went 48 minutes executing their game plan. That's a loud building. That's a great fan base, prompted by a lot of sound effects and the public address announcer and things like that. It was kind of driving me crazy. They definitely had the crowd mic up a little bit more. And you had a lot of, we can't hear you and let's hear you and make some noise and all those things. Kind of drove me crazy. But then again, I'm the old guy in the room. DJ, good learning experience. You got to feel them out. Yeah, you did. You got one more with OKC during the regular season. I said early on in the regular season, and the big guy Chet is out right now. I believe he comes back in the second half of the season. I thought OKC's a year away. They're right there. You could very easily right now, early January 2025, say OKC will represent the West in the NBA Finals come June. Basco, Celtics, okay. 9 for 46 from the three-point line. Basco. Yeah, bro. That's rough. Albert checking in. Jaylen decision-making at the rim at the end of the game was rough. I'm not saying we're nitpicking here, but there's a lot of things you can point at. But again, three of your starters not scoring in the second half. That's a rough one. The Celtics haven't had one of those this year. Fewest points they've scored this season, first time this season below 100 points against a very good defensive team. But you were with them through three quarters, not shooting well at all. Got the points in the paint, got some free throws, got calls, got to the line. And how about the bench? You knew at halftime the bench wasn't – in the first quarter, I put it in my notes. Joe Mazzulla played 9 players in that first quarter. Horford now coming off the bench with Porzingis back and Brown back. And one of the few times this season that the Celtics had everyone available, you thought, okay, let's go. Let's see it. Nope. Not on this Sunday. Not on the first Sunday of the new year. Again, Patriots, 4-13 season, firing Gerard Mayo, the head coach, after one season. Latest with the Locked On Patriots podcast with Mike Debate. You can follow Mike as well. Does a terrific job covering the Patriots. I'm not at a loss of words here. Very rarely am I at a loss for words, but that was not, well, you could certainly say it wasn't the best effort of the season for the Celtics, but that was not Celtics basketball. Is it more of the Celtics and having a bad day, or was it OKC? I think it's not 50-50, but I think you give the advantage to the Thunder saying, you know what, they just took it to them. I've got a very good basketball team. They're putting together certainly a special season. Get one more in here. DJ. All right, this is an interesting one. DJ more afraid of the Cavaliers than the Thunder? In a 7-game series, I agree. Yeah, I think I still like the Celtics over the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I still think the Celtics are going to be back-to-back champs. So I can see. I want more of an argument, DJ. Respond. Give me more of an argument why you're more afraid of the Cavaliers than you are the OKC Thunder. Mike checking in. Happy Sunday. Some uncharacteristic shot selection made by the team in the second half. KP wasn't using his height in the second half at all. Such a deep three, and then ruined a steal moment by just taking it. Okay. Yeah, I don't like when Porzingis falls in love with the three-pointer, and I thought he could take advantage of being inside a little bit more. Again, they went big on a couple of occasions. There were a couple of different occasions. Tatum at the end of that first quarter the 5 on the floor at the end of that first quarter. It was Tatum and 4 reserves at the end of the first quarter, and I made note of it. Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette, Horford, and Tatum. So they had gone big there, and they went big on a couple of occasions. When you go big in those situations, you have to take advantage. You have to use that advantage. And Hartenstein is a big pickup for them in the offseason. He really was. Energy guy, goes to the boards, does a lot of things, and brings added value to the Thunder that they did not have last year as well. DJ, because in my opinion, Cavs, bigs are bigger and better. Makes it tough when you're not hitting threes at a high level. Yeah, I can live with that. I can agree with that. Pascal checking in. Thunder more aggressive and forced the C's to rush a little more than normal. 3-point shooting was a difference to me. So overall for the game, let's get here. Again, numbers tonight, third segment. We're going to take a break here in just a moment. Celtics were 9 for 46. No team this year has blown the Celtics out on the three-point line the way the Thunder did, going 16 of 38 and going 42% overall. Healthy Celtics. We're going to get into the bench. Talked about it. Tatum with the bigs, Horford and Cornette. But not a lot from the bench. We're going to discuss that in our next segment. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, keep the comments coming. Where was the bench? We discuss that next. Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, and we are presented by PrizePicks. Now, with PrizePicks, here you go. We know basketball season is heating up. No better place to get real money action right now while you're watching your favorite NBA stars than with PrizePicks. Whether you're a diehard fan or just love some friendly competition, PrizePicks is able to make it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Think LeBron's going to hit 30? Or maybe Luka's going to get 8 assists. Well, Luka's not going to do that right now because he's out with an injury for the Dallas Mavericks. PrizePicks lets you make your predictions and put your money where your mouth is in just 60 seconds. With PrizePicks, flex play option, even if one of your picks doesn't hit, you can still double your money. Plus, once you hit, you can get your money fast, sometimes as quick as 15 minutes. Honestly, the best way to keep the game's exciting. Now's the perfect time to join PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA, and you will get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win to get that $50 bonus guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Celtics fall on the road to OKC. They've got one more. We'll hit on Denver coming up in segment number 3 along with our numbers of the night. But the Celtics bench, Horford, almost 25 minutes, 2 of 5 on the three-point line, 2 of 6 overall. Took just one shot inside the three-point line when the Celtics took a lot of shots inside the three-point line. 39 shots and 39 field goals attempted inside the three-point line. Celtics were 56%. And I know I'm getting the numbers here in segment number 2. But they were effective. Points in the paint for the Celtics. OKC came back, but the Celtics did have the advantage, points in the paint at the half, 42-40. And usually it's a little bit more lopsided. Celtics have to contain in that points in the paint. Let's get back to the comments here. Jonas checking in again. When the Celtics become cold, Tatum should have been inserted sooner. Mike Driscoll, back to you. This was a great minor matchup. The C's played good D, but mirror matchup, sorry. This was a great mirror matchup. C's played good D, but had to give up something, and OKC took advantage of the open three-pointers, which is what the Celtics usually do. The chess match between Joe and Mark was great. Thanks for checking in, Mike, as always. They actually made mention of it. The Celtics were basically going to let the bigs for Oklahoma City knock down some shots from the outside, and they did. They packed it in on the three. They packed it in below the free throw line. That was a comment from Michael Cage. And let's get into our broadcaster observations. No Drew Carter, no Brian Scalabrine for me on Sunday, NBA TV. So the home broadcast with Chris Fisher and Michael Cage. Michael Cage, the former NBA player. Back to the 80s. Google images, Michael Cage, Jerry Curl. They made a comment of no Boston 3-party. They were kind of making notes on the Celtics and what you had to do against the Celtics. No Boston 3-party. And, hey, 9 made 3-pointers for the Celtics. Tip of the cap to the OKC Thunder for taking the threes away. But, Chris Fisher, Michael Cage, listening to them. On occasion, I do enjoy listening to the visiting broadcasts because you get a different perspective. I thought Michael Cage with his analysis on the Celtics, I thought he was right on. Again, Derek White and the play with Hartenstein late in the fourth quarter, they wanted a flagrant. I didn't think it was. Referees, teetered there a little bit. And then they went gaga in the final minutes as the Thunder closed out the victory. No more, no less than what you would expect. Really. But they did a nice job. But the bench for the Celtics, it just, even in that first quarter, it just didn't feel like it was a game for Peyton Pritchard. Pritchard played 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes in the first quarter for the Celtics and had 1 shot attempt. And in looking at that, I said, you know what? I just don't know that it's Peyton Pritchard's game. It's just one of those games. And Pritchard, overall, played under 11 minutes. Was 0 of 5 overall, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. So they took the bench away. And in the second half, they took all the scoring away. Again, second half, Brown, 0 points. Holiday, the same. White, the same. The three of your starters in the second half combining to go 0 for 13 overall from the field. And 0 of 9 on the three-point line. I'll bet myself a quarter right now, do the same thing, you'll win a quarter. That's not going to happen again this season. Don't care who the 3 starters are. You're not going to have 3 starters not score in the second half of the Celtics game this season. I just made myself a quarter bet against myself, so I'm going to win. Make the same bet. When I saw that late in the fourth quarter, wow. I had to look at it a couple times. I really did. Numbers of the night, look ahead. And stay with us in segment number 3 because you can go from, wow, this is a great road trip, 2-0, now 2-1. Denver's not a must-win on Tuesday, but you've got to pick up that victory. You've got to go 3-1 on this trip after you started off 2-0. We'll see. We'll discuss that a little bit more. I think they do it. I'll tell you why when we come back. Once again, a lot of great comments. Thought we'd have a busy show. Do appreciate it. As always, tell your friends about us. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Steve Lennox with you on the Locked On Celtics postcast. And we are presented by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets. That is guaranteed. That's $250 in bonus bets, win or lose. That is new. That's new in our copy. The FanDuel advantage right now, and the FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more, including live play-by-play. Visit the website, share betting lines around your team or league. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, keep the comments coming. Again, a lot of Patriots talk. Mike Debate has you covered. Locked On Patriots. One season, that's all he got. One season. Steve Lennox with you, Locked On Celtics postcast, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Locked On Sports, your team every day. John Corrales will also have a reaction with the Locked On Celtics podcast. Of course, we are available and free wherever you get your podcast. OKC Thunder. Did they exceed your expectations? I've only dipped in on a handful of Thunder games this season. I was impressed. I still think they're a year away. Probably stupid thinking on my part at this point in time. Celtics now 26-10 on the year. Thunder 30-5, top team in the Western Conference. Celtics 3-game win streak, bye-bye, it's over. Celtics first time this season not scoring 100 points in a game. Their previous season low 104 and the loss against Orlando a while back. Fourth road loss of the season. Al Horford back after getting a night of rest on Friday against Houston. Jaylen Brown also back. How about the Celtics 5-2 without Brown in the lineup? Yes, you want him in the lineup. Absolutely you do. Celtics, again, third quarter, 15 points, 5 of 22 overall, 1 of 13 on the three-point line. Fourth quarter, 12 points, 3 of 18 overall, just 18 shots, and 2 of 11 on the three-point line. You want to add those numbers up, 3 for 24 on threes, 8 for 40 overall. Ugly. Ugly. Wake-up call? I don't know. Celtics are a veteran team. Even the rough stretch, what you could call a winning month of December, but a rough December for the Celtics, they're a veteran team. There aren't a lot of highs and lows. Frustration, yes. But Tuesday in Denver against the Nuggets have played well this year. 4th seed in the West right now. That's pretty darn good. But you go to Denver, last game of a road trip. I would have been ecstatic with 3-1. Anyone would be ecstatic with 3-1. 2-2 after starting off 2-0. That'd be frustrating Tuesday night. We will be with you Tuesday night. Tip scheduled for after 10 p.m. Eastern. Me, I've already told you, when I'm in the room by myself, sometimes I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm actually looking forward to being up early a.m. hours, East Coast time, on Sunday. Our international viewers, our international folks, be with us because you're going to be into the next day. But Denver, not a must win. But let's see. Let's see how this team responds. Denver is tough because of the fact that you've got the thin air. It is the final game of a road trip. But they could be getting on the plane tonight or tomorrow on Monday and saying, you know what, let's go. Put it all together. We're putting that one behind us. We move on. And you've got OKC at home later in the regular season. And then after Denver, you've got 4 or 5 at home. Sacramento, New Orleans, then a game at Toronto, then home against the Magic. That next home game against Orlando, hey, you want to win that after they beat you and convincingly and did a nice job winning. That's going to be the midpoint of the season. That next home game against Orlando. And then home against Atlanta, then a 4-game trip. Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks. What if the Mavericks, it doesn't look like the Mavericks are going to have Luka back in time for that one. But right now, trip wraps up with Denver. Nuggets right now 20-14, as I mentioned. Number 4 team in the Western Conference. Nuggets coming off, had a home and home with the Spurs, each team winning on the road. And the Nuggets on Saturday winning in overtime against San Antonio. They've won 4 of their previous 5, again, splitting the 2 games with San Antonio, both winning on the road. So Denver's good. Denver's another one of those places where the crowd is into it. They can play a factor. And I don't like saying that necessarily, but you know, that gym, I will call it a gym every once in a while, the arena for OKC, fans were into it. Paycom. I haven't Googled that yet to see what it is. I probably won't either. Rebound from it. Come back. And it doesn't take the sour taste out of your mouth, but you go 3-1 and you win against Denver on Tuesday night in the Mile High City. You feel good about the road trip. Then you go home for 4 or 5. But give credit to OKC. It's you want to credit OKC because they're a very good team. And Celtics fans, as I've gotten to know you, you're smart. Smart fan base. I knew that going in, but since we got underway in October, now we're into January, I know that. You come with it. right here on the Locked On Celtics postcast. I do like 97.9% of the comments and the feedback and the back and forth that we have. You give Denver credit, but you also know the Celtics, games like this are few and far between. You don't want too many more of these. Again, I made myself a quarter bet. One more to go. Beat Denver, 3-1 road trip. You feel good about it. But 10 losses now on the season? 26-9? Cleveland in action? You could lose another game to the Cavaliers. Knicks losing 2 in a row after a long win streak. Cavaliers, 9 in a row. Home against the Hornets, so you probably are going to be 5.5 back in the Eastern Conference. Mike, who checks in with us quite often, wondering right now, do you want to, can you win the East? I don't know that that's even in the game plan right now or in the thought process. It should be in terms of that is a goal, win the East, be the number 1 seed. The Cavaliers, that bump in the road hasn't really happened yet. And their win streak at 9 in a row probably goes to 10 in a row against what's becoming a dreadful Charlotte Hornets team. Again, right? Hornets aren't any good. Cavaliers probably win that game. And I believe Cleveland, OKC later this week. So speaking of the Cavaliers, the Celtics were able to end their 15-game win streak to open up the season back on November 19th. They're unable to snap OKC's franchise record win streak, and that win streak is now at 15 in a row as the Celtics fall to the Thunder in Oklahoma City. One more. Yeah, it's going to be from Mike. No, it's going to be from Outlets. Let's get Mike in here. Does this game show the need for another wing? I can't imagine adding another wing to the Celtics team. Everyone shoots threes. The double big lineup can only do so much damage, yes, besides Sam, who does Joe trust. With this stretch right now, you don't jump off the bandwagon. None of us are doing that. But as we're into January and we're about a month away from the trade deadline, with this stretch from mid-December, I think, really, through now of losing this one to OKC, I'm leaning towards let's add something. But in order to add something, are you going to have to give something up that is in your top 8, top 10 players? I don't know. I'm going to start looking into that a little bit more. But right now, I'm thinking front office might be thinking it. Joe Mazzulla might be thinking it. They might be all on board with the same thinking of, hey, we're going to have to add here. We're going to have to do something. We're coming up on the midpoint of the season, 10 losses on the year right now. It's about the regular season. It's about being healthy. It's about getting the best seed you possibly can in the East. But there might be a need because first handful of weeks of the regular season, when you were playing the below average teams in the NBA, you took advantage and you went strong. Now teams are starting to understand what they can do to beat the Celtics. Albert, we're going to give you the last. Are the Celtics' recent struggles due to their injuries last month and lack of continuity with their top 8? Albert, great point. Joe Mazzulla, kind of paraphrasing here, not word for word, but basically saying he was asked by a reporter recently of, as you get guys back, is it hard to implement them, getting them back in the lineup? And, as you don't have, this is one of the very few games where the injury report was everyone's available. Very few of those this year. And Joe Mazzulla basically saying, no, it's more on the other team to adapt and make decisions and adapt to what, what they're doing. Make those changes. It's on the other teams to adapt to what we do. We're just going to do what we're, continue doing. We're going to continue doing what we're doing as well with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a 3-1 road trip with the finale in Denver against the Nuggets Tuesday night. Again, we're going to be up late, and I am looking forward to it. I will be with you within minutes of the final buzzer of the Celtics and Nuggets matchup in the Mile High City on Tuesday night. You could call it early Wednesday morning on the East Coast. Great show from you. Great comments. Appreciate it as always. Want to remind you as we step away and say goodbye, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter and one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free right now, LockedOnDaily.com. Tip of the cap to you. And those who are with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, and a tip of the cap and recognize our sponsors as well, PrizePicks and FanDuel. Back at it Tuesday after the final game of this 4-game road trip with the Celtics and Nuggets in Denver. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out after every game. Tell your friends about us. Locked On Sports Boston, your team, your Celtics, every day.